Lots of the headlines I've been looking at: Syrians caught, lost, refugees all over the place. We've got illegals flooding across the border. I'll tell you what, there's America looks a heck of a lot different, doesn't it, than America used to look. Well, listen, I've got with us Sarah from New York, a regular commentator and contributor to the show. Sarah, how are you?
I'm doing great, Burnie. How are you?
I'm doing well. Glad to have you. I'll tell you what, we've got new digs here. We're still setting things up. And from where you guys are looking in, it looks pretty cool. But where I'm looking out, it looks scary. There's all kinds of screens and computers. It's unbelievable. But I think I finally got the right buttons pushed, and I'm glad to have you, Sarah. Thank you.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here.
Well, heck, a lot's happened since the last time we talked. We have a
Yeah.
president who said that he has contained ISIS, and the very next day, Paris is struck in a horrible way.
Yeah, I'm thinking over the past year how we've been talking about Obama and his America and what are his intentions, and is he naive or does he know exactly what he's doing? I think it's very clear that he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's trying to destabilize this country for revolution.
Somebody said on Twitter, does this anybody in this administration have more than a single digit IQ? To which I said, oh no, they're much smarter than we are. I mean, they're ahead of the curve. They are very successful at degrading and destroying the United States. Not ISIS, but the United States.
Right, right. And if you go on his Facebook page, Barack Obama, and I love it because it doesn't say President of the United States. Go on his page, it says politician.
Wow.
He is honest about that. Yeah, go on his Facebook page. It says politician, Barack Obama. And the posts are about climate change mostly. He did a decent post about Veterans Day. I actually like that one. But the man he's a shameless liar, and he's a propagandist, and unfortunately many, many people believe him. He knows exactly what he's doing. I think he's not only a jihad sympathizer, he's pro-jihad.
It seems like it. I mean, Putin says that ISIS is his mercenaries, and I mean, it's horrible to say, but it's the evidence would be difficult to disprove. I mean, the first thing he did when Americans said we don't want 100,000 or however many Syrian so-called refugees to be flooding the United States right now, especially on the heels of the Paris bombing, the first thing he did was he ridiculed us. I guess they're scared of widows and orphans, and then he says that our rhetoric is actually one of the best recruiting tools that ISIS has. Is that remarkable?
Yeah, and he says it so smoothly and calmly, and we've talked about the hypnotic quality of his speech, and he's such a great liar. He's a great propagandist. He doesn't say it with, he's not bombastic. He just says it like he's reasonable. So the content of what he's saying is completely irrational, but the delivery of the content is so smooth and sounds so good that people are hypnotized by it and they believe it.
Well,
he could literally say anything, Burnie.
Oh, he can.
And there are many people, maybe even most Americans, unfortunately, I hope not, but millions upon millions of people who would believe him no matter what he says.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely true. I mean, look, the Syria refugee crisis that we have right now is so beyond the pale. It is so unbelievably outlandish that it makes me feel like there's something else really going on. It makes me feel like it's being put in front of us to distract us from another move that he's making. It's a major deflection of sorts. Dinesh D'Souza, who did the wonderful documentary, the really interesting documentary, Obama 2016.
Yeah.
And he looked into what motivated Barack Obama. I thought he did a fantastic job. But you know what he's done? He's come out recently and he said, you know what, I didn't go far enough. What I didn't realize, he says, was what you just said. What an incredible liar he is, because he copied his father, and his father was a big con man. He conned his way through basically everything that he did. He lied about who he was. He lied about where he went. He lied about everything. He was
Right.
really good at it. And Barack began doing that early on when he first saw
Mhm.
his father. I really wish that I could get this term to Dinesh D'Souza, the one that I always use. Tell me, isn't this perfect, Sarah? Isn't he really, truly the great beguiler?
Yes.
It's perfect.
Yes, he is. He's seductive. He's absolutely beguiling. And, even when I listen to him and I look at him, I have to say, this is incredible because I detest Barack Obama. But there's something, even to a person like me who knows that what he represents is absolutely evil, like, what's wrong with you, Sarah? He seems like such a nice guy.
I don't know if I've ever seen anybody quite like him. If you look at people throughout history who were hypnotic, who were beguiling, who could rile up crowds, they normally had this bombastic way about them. You think
Yeah.
of Mussolini, you
Yeah.
think of Hitler, you think
Yeah.
of, they weren't, and the quiet types, the Vladimir Lenins and so on and so forth, they didn't get the big crowds and give the big speeches. Castro could.
Right. Right. Exactly. But Obama comes across as folksy and friendly, and he's the most diabolical.
You use such great words. So far, you've said that he has a hypnotic way of speaking, that he's seductive and folksy, but what he's really pushing is diabolical. And
Yeah.
you think about this too, Sarah. He frames the debate and colors the discussion in such a way that if you disagree with him, you're not only ridiculous, but you hate orphans and widows. I mean,
Right, you're bad.
I mean, that's
yeah, you're absolutely
unbelievable.
bad. There is no way to disagree with him and to be good. And if you look on his Facebook page, and he's got these posts on climate change, and one of them says across the top, climate deniers in Congress, 130 plus. He's completely divided the Congress in this graphic, into the good people and the bad people, and we've got to get to the climate change deniers.
Deniers, and you know where that comes from. You know what that term evokes memories of?
What?
The Holocaust. Holocaust deniers.
Exactly.
You're a denier.
Holocaust deniers. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
horrible.
exactly. No, you're right. I didn't make that connection, but it's absolutely right. So, yeah, he uses something that most people can agree upon, and then he twists it for his own evil purpose.
And isn't it remarkable that our Democrat friends who agreed with Obama in 2011, I believe, that we should not allow Iraqis into the United States at that time, now, all of a sudden, you are a rank bigot, you're a xenophobe, you suffer from Islamophobia, if
Right.
now you think that maybe we should put a halt on this and not have an absolute influx of tens and tens and tens of thousands of Syrian refugees that we see around the world are sneaking in. And do you know what Margaret Carlson recently said? She said that maybe, I swear to you, this is what Democrats now believe. If we would just accept and embrace them, maybe they would turn away from terrorism and embrace America. She said that America knows how to do this. France and Germany don't know how. All we have to do is accept them, and maybe they won't bomb us. Is that amazing?
It's delusional. Excuse me. You know what? It's a mental disorder, and it's a learning disability. The inability to learn from experience.
Wow. Well, and to me, here's what I think. I actually think that Democrats know he's full of crap. I don't even think it is a learning disorder. I think they know. Democrats know this is insane, but they love that it upsets Republicans. They love it. They'll do anything. They've lost their doctors.
Right.
And they still defend Obamacare because it upsets Republicans. They hate Republicans more than they love America. And I don't
Right.
know exactly how to define justice, but I know it when I see it. And when I watch the movie, the old movie with Jimmy Stewart, when I watch It's a Wonderful Life, every time an angel got his wings, you heard a bell. And
Right.
I really wish that every time a Democrat lost his doctor, I could hear a bell. And that would be justice. I would have let it ding all day long and it would never get old to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. Well, and now the left is turning on its own with this insanity on campuses. How would
Yeah.
you like to be paying tens and tens of thousands of dollars to send your child to one of these adult kindergartens where I don't know, they're creating mentally ill students.
It's insane. It's
through
insane.
their
And I'll tell you,
indoctrination.
and if you,
And now
if-
they're turning on their professors.
yeah. Here's what Democrats are saying. They don't even believe it, but here's what they say. They say, we're not going to let ISIS deter us from the real threats of Islamophobia, climate change, and hateful speech. These are the real threats to America. Now, I got that from Jack on Twitter. He's fantastic. But isn't that perfect? That's what they say are the real threats. But really worse than all three of those, they think Republicans are the real threats.
Right, right. That's their evil. Yeah, Republicans are evil, and that's their focus. They'll do anything to demonize us.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know. It's the world is getting crazier every day.
Well, I'm
insane.
not seeing the Republican Congress do enough to stop it. I hear a lot of talk.
No.
I mean, there's a
No.
lot of talk, but in the end, I think they're going to fund Obama's Syrian refugee. I mean, do you remember in 1980, Castro unleashed the Cuban refugees on us with the, what was it called? There's something boat lift. I can't remember. This is kind of like
Right, and they
Obama's.
start floating their way to Florida.
Yeah, this is Obama doing it to. We don't need Castro to send refugees to us. The Marion boat lift, was that it? I forget exactly what it was called.
I don't remember the
But
name
this
of
is
it.
Obama's version of that. Bring in tens and tens of thousands of Syrian refugees. We do it to ourselves now.
I think that you've probably heard this, and I'm starting to believe maybe it's true. I think he wants to bring in so many of these people, many of whom are terrorists, and we're going to have an attack here. I mean, we've had terrorist attacks, plenty of them, but they're only labeled as workplace violence or something like that. But we're going to have, unfortunately, I mean, I really pray that I'm wrong, but I think it's going to happen.
Well,
here.
I think he was worried about it before.
Another 9/11 or worse.
Yeah.
And I think part of Obama's strategy is to destabilize the whole nation, send it into a complete crisis, and he'll declare martial law.
Yeah, I agree with you.
He'll be permanently in place. I think that's what he's aiming for.
Now, when you heard that 6 or 7 years ago, 4 years ago, didn't you think people who said that were nuts?
Yeah. Yeah, they're starting to look more sane.
Aren't they?
as the days go by.
And you know what's going to happen if there were to be, God forbid, a terrorist attack on American soil? Do you know what he would do? What do you think his speech would be about?
Well, it would be about gun control, of course.
Yeah, and how Republicans
so he
haven't
could take
funded.
away all the guns from the good people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's going to try to do in this next year. He's going to try to confiscate all the guns.
I'll tell you what I see his move as being. At first, he was afraid of a terrorist attack in America because he thought people would blame him, but now he knows that they won't blame him.
Well, he's been reelected.
Yep. And
Right.
they'll
it
blame
couldn't
Republicans.
happen before he got reelected. Now he doesn't care, especially in his last year. Hey, let the whole thing fall apart.
Yeah.
Go up in flames.
Let the world burn.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to him because what he's going to do is he's going to say all the civilized countries in the world have had emergency measures like France is calling on and so we need to do what France has done. We need to do what the other civilized countries have done. And we need to have more gun control. We need to watch our hateful speech. There's a story I just came across in Florida. Here, you watch when we lift our gaze, Sarah. When we lift our gaze and look ahead, what we're going to find out is Syrian refugees are going to come here, and then they're going to say, it is horrible in America. Americans don't like us. They're being mean to us. They're glaring at us. And then Obama's going to crack down on Americans who aren't welcoming enough to the Syrian refugees. That's the next move. The poor Syrian refugees are more afraid of America now than they were in Syria. I swear there was a story in fact, I tweeted that story.
Yeah, it sounds plausible.
And he's going to blame Republicans for not funding Homeland Security. He's going to say we need to take emergency measures, and those emergency measures are going to be, I'm not saying that, I'm not for another election, but right now it's a little precarious, and we should be prudent about things.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Democrats will cheer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
We've got some really scary times going on right now, and more scary days ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Sarah, listen, I appreciate it as always. Let's do it again maybe next week.
Okay, and then coming up, I hope to call in from overseas.
Oh, yeah, you're going to Israel.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear your story. Tell us all about it when you get there, and safe and comfortable travels.
Yes, thank you. Okay, talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah from New York. Listen, I want to point this out to you. Who remembers in 1980? They made a movie about this, Scarface with Al Pacino. Now, yeah, Scarface. What was that movie based on? The Mariel boat lift, when Castro sent tens of thousands of refugees to Miami, and then there was the major crime spree and so on and so forth. You remember who remembers all that? This is America's version of the Mariel boat lift. I mean, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring them in ourselves. We don't need boats. We don't need Castro. We got Obama, right? Just bring a red carpet, bring them on in. Wasn't Al Pacino great in Scarface? Some people don't like Scarface because he cussed too much. I mean, is there a movie where the F word was said more, at least in the 80s, than that movie? But I thought it was I love the movie. I think it's a little over the top. It's a little, but as a matter of fact, I started watching another movie last night with Al Pacino. This is back when Al Pacino was a good actor. Matter of fact, watching Godfather again with Miss Sarah Moon. Who thinks Godfather's fantastic? And I'll tell you what, if we could just talk, can we just talk movies instead of all this politics? I wish we could. You talk about character development in a movie. Character development in a movie. Have you ever seen such character development than Michael Corleone? And don't say Don Corleone Gates. Don Gates is our state senator. Don't talk about Don. But every time now, I think I hear, Marlon Brando, if I do this thing for you on this day of my daughter's wedding, I'm thinking of my state senator, Don Gates. Matt Gates, his son, by the way. Oh, Matt Gates is the state representative. Don Gates, his dad, is the state senator. And Dad is term limiting out, and Matt has raised almost $1 million to take his dad's, our state Senate seat, but the seat that his dad currently holds. Now, why would he get almost $1 million? And here's the thing that blows me away, and it never gets old to me. It never gets old to me. He is against Common Core, Matt Gates. He's against amnesty, Matt Gates. He's against the Syrian refugees, Matt Gates. But guess who Matt Gates is all in for? You know who he's all in for. Jeb Bush. Matt Gates is all in for Jeb Bush. Yeah, it's his turn, right? He's all in for Jeb Bush, but he's opposed to every damn thing Jeb Bush does. Who can explain that to me? Do you know that Jeb Bush supports the Syrian refugees coming to America? Did you know that? And Matt Gates, he's sending stuff, the candidate for Senate, Matt Gates, he's sending stuff on Facebook talking about how ISIS has the addresses and home addresses and names of military members who are now being threatened, and he wants to make sure he keeps us safe, but Matt Gates is all in for Jeb Bush. Who can explain that to me? I can explain it. I'll tell you why. That's how he got $1 million to run for a state Senate seat. That's insane. That's insane. It's all about the Benjamins. Am I right or wrong? Can I get an amen? Somebody wants him in office. I know Disney does. Only two kinds of people would do that. Only what kind of people? Who knows? What kind of people would say, what kind of people would say, I am absolutely, and I mean, you do all you can to stop Common Core. You do all you can to have open carry, guns. You do all you can for the good stuff, right? You do all you can for to stop illegal immigration. You want to keep the Syrian refugees out. You're not for amnesty. But you turn around and you fully endorse the Republican candidate for president who's for all the things that you're against. Who would do that? What kinds of people? Only two that I can think of. Politicians and lawyers. Those are the only kinds of people who would say something like, now politicians and lawyers, do you know that Matt Gaetz is both of those? I'm not trying to bust on the guy because he actually has a pretty good voting record, but it will never stop blowing my mind how somebody could be all in for the candidate who's against everything you do. By the way, we were just speaking about Barack Obama. And I'm going to say something that's provocative. I hate saying it, but it's true. The president that puts his dreamers and his Syrian refugees, his hopers, those are his hopers, by the way. He puts his dreamers and his hopers above Americans. He prioritizes illegal aliens. He prioritizes Syrian refugees over Americans. And Americans who voice their disapproval, what does he say about us? Not only are you ridiculous for being scared of widows and orphans, right? Not only that, but your rhetoric, he says, about us, you are some of the best recruiting tools for ISIS. Now, I got to tell you something. As long as Obama is in office, we can expect a lot of flags at half-staff. I'm driving around today, and I'm seeing lots of flags at half-staff. And I'm thinking, this is the normal state of things in America. It is yet another hallmark of America that we have flags at half-staff all the time. We have flags at half-staff. It's really hard for me to not let loose on this because it's awful. It is another hallmark of America. Am I right or wrong? Do we have enough time to take phone calls? Phone number is 850-252-8260, 850-252-8260. I even have my Democrat phone now. I have, and no one's ever on it. Do you know that? Nobody's, hello? It's like hollow. Listen, hello? I can't get I used to have Democrats call me, but if we ever get one, this will be the line that we'll have the Democrats call on. Because I want to know. I want to know how do they defend themselves with Barack Obama saying or doing any old thing. And that's what he is, a president, any old thing. I got a picture here of a flag at half-staff. And I can't help but think that that's going to be a normal fixture across America as long as Barack Obama is in office. You know it and I know it. Some of the other things that I wanted to tell you. Do you know this? This is very important, what I'm about to say about Obamacare. And I see that we have on Twitter and on Periscope, I see that we have at Sean Hannity's Hair with us. Now, if you're watching on Fox 28, on TV, you can watch the show live if you just download the Periscope app on your phone. Download the Periscope app, whether you have an iPhone or an Android, and then follow at Burnie Thompson, and you can watch the show live. And I can see you. There's another camera here. I can see you and talk with you and comment in real time. And also, you can watch the show live, by the way, on YouTube. We do it live on YouTube. So there's two ways that you can watch the show live, and of course you can catch it on TV. After that on Fox 28. And so excited to be on Fox 28 pretty much every morning with you. But what I'm about to tell you about Obamacare, and the reason I point out that at S. Hannity's hair is with us is because he is somebody who knows more about healthcare and Obamacare than anybody I know. I mean, he is literally an expert in that field. So, and I refer to him as Hair. So if you're listening, I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Either calling in or by communicating on Periscope. But this is very important. The nation's largest insurer of healthcare may exit Obamacare due to the financial losses. Now, I'm going to tell you something. First of all, let me read you the lead paragraph so you know this. This is incredible. United Health Group is the largest insurance company in the United States. United Health Group. And it just announced that it has slashed its earnings outlook, okay, citing new problems related to Obamacare, and told investors that it may exit the program's exchanges. Quote, this is what their chief executive officer said, their CEO. In recent weeks, growth expectations for individual exchange participation have tempered industry-wide. Cooperatives have failed, and market data has signaled higher risks and more difficulties while our claims experience has deteriorated. Now, this was supposed to happen. Here's the dirty little secret. While the biggest health insurance company in America is set to leave and get out, it was bound to happen, and it's by design. I'll tell you why. And I wonder what you think about this. You see, about 3 years ago, what the government told insurance companies is, we are going to take over healthcare. Now, you can help us, and if you help us, you will make the windfalls for the first 2 years. We will force people to buy your product, and if they don't, we'll tax them. So for the first couple of years, you're going to make a windfall. You're going to make a ton of money. You're going out of business anyway. We are going to put you out of business one way or another. Now, you can help us, and you can profit the first 2 years and then close your doors and leave with your golden parachutes. Or you can fight us every step of the way, and we'll sue you, and we'll harass you, and we'll take over anyway. About the same time Obama leaves. So now what's happened is the 2 years where the lawyers and the insurance companies made killings have expired. Now we are getting to the point that the insurance companies are going to start leaving and closing their doors. And we will be stuck with government, not insurance companies, not public-private partnerships, but we'll be stuck with government. And this was by design. Are you with me? That's how this whole thing played out. The reason the insurance companies got behind Obamacare is they knew they were going to be forced out within a few years anyway, and this was a way that they could make windfalls for the first 2 years. They knew this moment would come, and they've made their boatloads of money, and they are now set to leave. And it was all by design. Now, there's a tweet that says, wow, exclamation point, the nation's largest insurer may exit Obamacare due to losses. It's really not a surprise. If the writer had lifted his gaze 3 years ago, G-A-Z-E now, if he had looked ahead, he would have seen that this was inevitable. This was bound to happen. This is the only thing that could have happened when they promised benefit plus benefit plus benefit would equal free. Who thinks benefit plus benefit plus benefit would equal free? I'm telling you, Democrats didn't even believe that, but they just wanted to win an argument against Republicans. And now, when Democrats lose their doctors, I wish I could hear that. Every time an angel gets his wings, you hear a bell. Every time a Democrat loses his doctor, I wish I could hear a bell because it would lift me throughout the day. That is something that would lift me throughout the day. It would make me happy. So Obamacare will collapse. It was designed that way, but not before, insurance companies and lawyers rob us blind. Okay, that will happen first. I want to tell you one more thing before we close out. By the way, do you know that it's International Men's Day? It's International Men's Day. So I'm asking my friends today, what do you want to do? Because, I guarantee you this. I'm going to my favorite saloon. It's not going to be International Men's Day, and I don't go to my favorite saloon. You can count that for that. You put that in the bank, right? For sure, I'm grabbing some apple juice and a carrot stick, and I'm going to go find somebody to hang out at my favorite saloon with. That's for sure. It's International Men's Day. Is it just coincidence, by the way, that it falls at the same time as World Toilet Day? Why is World Toilet Day and International Men's Day at the same time? Anybody? Why? Something's not right there. Coincidence? Perhaps. Now, last thing I'm going to leave you with is what Barack Obama and Islamic terrorists have in common. I hate it. Wish it wasn't true, but it is true. Barack Obama and terrorists use America's goodness against us. America's got talking to somebody the other day. And you know what he told me? He said, Bernie, I'm so upset about America. He said, I'm so upset. He goes, I hear the Star Spangled Banner. I don't even want to get up. I don't want to say the pledge. I don't want to. And I said, look, Americans are good. The government is screwed, right? America is really, most of us are okay. And if we were left with consequences, we would straighten our butts up, wouldn't we? But when the government removes consequences, a bunch of Americans go and act like fools. So we need to restore consequences, get the government out of the way, and most of Americans are okay. It's not Americans. It's the government that sucks. So still say the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance. Right? And by the way, some people say, I don't pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America or any of that. And it's just a flag. But remember what the next part is. And to the republic for which it stands. I wrote an article that America is a republic, not a democracy, and it got an amazing rebuttal that I haven't shared with you yet. It is deep and it's long and it's intense, to the point that I am asking Chris Ann Hall to give it a once over, because the guy makes some very good points. But basically, his point is, we are not a republic today, to which I don't have much of an argument. I wrote what America is supposed to be, and he is arguing about what America has devolved into, and I have no argument with that. But we must know what it's supposed to be in order to restore it. Are you with me? These are very important things. But Obama and Islamic terrorists use what's good about America against America, and that's evil. All right. I wish I had something uplifting, but I really don't. Hello? There's still no Democrats to talk with. Maybe I'll find one in my favorite saloon. All right. Thanks so much for being with us, and I will see you tomorrow right here, Fox 28, of course, on Periscope, on YouTube, at the My Freedom Radio channel, and there are so many buttons and computers ahead of me, I don't even know which one to push first. So thanks for being with us. You see how many things I'm pushing here?